Hello, I'm Roshan recording experiment 10 database lab. This is another experiment on database connectivity, but here instead of Java we are using PHP and SQL. This is an application for user authentication, so let's see how it is done. Inside HTML first we add uh, two text areas to enter username and password. This is achieved using a form. So we also add a submit button so that once the user enters the username and password, we want to go and run some PHP in the backend. So we add a submit file for that, submit button for that. Now in PHP code, let's see what is done. First, we create three variables, and one is DB host as a database host, database user, and database password. These database host is localhost since we are running the program in our system. Then user is root by default, and I have not given any password. So then you use create another variable con. So this is to store the connection details. So we achieve the connection using a function in MySQL connect. It takes three things as input, and we need to pass three variables as arguments for this function. One is the host name, username, and password. If this is not successful, automatically the die function will be invoked, and it will display a message error connecting to MySQL, and the program will die. Otherwise it will move forward, and this is the name of the database. So I have created a database named users in PHP. So let's see how we do that. First we use XAMPP. Now using XAMPP to start MySQL and Apache, and in MySQL you will see, you can find I have created a database. So these are the database in it. So users is the name of the database, and I also have a table named student on it. So this is the table student, and these are the information in it. So there's two columns, name and password, and one I handed two inputs. So let's see in the code here. The next thing I do is I want to select the database. So I use the function mysql to select database, and this is the name of the database, and this contains the name of the database. And if this is not successful, the die will automatically be invoked, and it will say the database is not available, and the program exits. So otherwise it proceeds forward. So the first thing we do is we need to verify. For authentication we need to find out what the user entered in the text box. So these are IDs of the text box in the HTML code. So using the filter input function, I get the content of that and store them in name and pwd. These are the names of two variables. So after that I use the select query. I make another variable which contains a select query. So select star from student. Student is the name of the table in my database. So you can see here, this is the name of the table. Now after that you find out if there is any row having a name equal to the name entered and the password equal to the password entered by the user. If there is, first after creating the query you need to execute that. For that you use a MySQL query function and you run the query. If it is successful, the result will be stored in this variable, and we use another function called MySQL num rows, and this will find out the number of rows of result generated in the when the query was executed. So if there was a user with the entered name and password, then it will display the number of results will be greater than 0. Then it will display welcome and the name of the user. Otherwise it will display an invalid user. So see, in the output you can see when I enter Roshan and QWERTY, when I press submit, it went to the PHP thing, myadmin database, and it ran the query and checked if there was a entry, such a record in the table, and based on that it generated output. And since there was an entry like that, it displayed welcome. Okay, sorry about spelling mistake. Then welcome Roshan, and the user is allowed to enter that sound. Thank you.